Well, it looks like we got some Throne of Eldraine spoilers way ahead of schedule. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. We are here today to talk about Throne of Eldraine leaks. Apparently, there was a French leak of some Throne of Eldraine cards. Now, we've got kind of fragmented issues in terms, I should say, of the actual images of these. So we have the full Rowan Planeswalker along with 2 knights associated with her in a fragmented sort of setup. Now, it's Carly's birthday, and this is breaking news. I don't actually have a ton of time to edit this video and chop things up into pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to switch it to a view where you can see the entire 3 set of cards that have been spoiled from a French Planeswalker deck. And I'm going to talk about each of the cards, tell you what they do because I have the translations here. We'll talk about the artwork and everything really quickly, and then we'll wrap it up. Because again, as I said, it's Carly's birthday, so I don't have a ton of time today. I actually just found the time to squeeze this in while she is off enjoying some birthday shopping. So let's dive in, my friends. You will see on the screen 3 cards, one in it full-sized, and that's the Rowan Planeswalker, and then you will see 2 sideways slashed knights. These are both knight creatures that are associated with Rowan specifically because these are Planeswalker deck exclusive cards. So bear that in mind. The power level on these cards isn't going to be through the roof, but they're not terrible. I mean, well, the Planeswalker itself isn't terrible. So let us start out with the Planeswalker. This is Rowan Daring Spark Mage. Now, understand these are French translations, so these may not be the full-on finalized like English names. There may be some kind of slight difference. It may be Intrepid Spark Mage, but anyways, Rowan Daring Spark Mage, 2 red, 3 colorless. This has 5 loyalty, +1 up to 1 creature gets +3/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. -2, choose up to 2 creatures. Rowan Daring Spark Mage deals 1 damage to each of them. Those creatures can't block this turn. And the ultimate is actually really beefy. I really like the ultimate on this. -9, gain control of all creatures until end of turn. Untap them. They gain haste until end of turn. Overall power level, not too shabby at all. The -9 getting to Insurrection and grab everybody's creatures for massive swingitude is a lot of fun. And who knows, maybe this is something you can try out in Commander. I honestly couldn't say. I feel like I have 5 mana, honestly. I feel like this Planeswalker would have been costed at 6. So maybe they're pushing the envelope a little bit in terms of power level when it comes to the Planeswalkers for these Planeswalker decks. The artwork is nice. It depicts Rowan there getting her sword all flamed up. I mean, this shows how she could easily be giving +3/+0 and first strike to a creature until end of turn, just adding some heavy fire enchantments to their blades. And that feels right for someone who is leading a knight. I like the whole like Red Riding Hood vibe that they've given her, because we're doing a fairy tale type world in Eldraine, and she's got that fairy tale style vibe to her. She's got that whole martial. It's like a martial Red Riding Hood. So that's all right. Not too shabby overall. Let's move on to the next card. This one's Rowan's Brave Ones, Rowan's Valiance, possibly. 5 mana, 1 red, 4 colorless for a 5/2 human knight. When this creature enters the battlefield, you may search your library and or your graveyard for a card named Rowan Daring Spark Mage, or insert whatever Rowan's name is there, whatever, right? So if you search your library this way, you shuffle. Obviously, you don't shuffle your graveyard because graveyard order no longer matters. Although at one time in Magic it did. So I mean, this is 5 mana for a 5/2, and I actually have to admit that I like it better when the tutor cards for the Planeswalkers cost 1 less than the Planeswalker, because it feels like you're ramping up to the planeswalker at that rate. You know what I mean? Like, if this knight was 4 mana, then it would be like, okay, 4th turn, cast the knight, 5th turn, cast Rowan. But they both have the same casting cost, which, I mean, in a way, when you can cast the Brave ones, it means you'll also be able to cast Rowan because you have enough mana. But it also doesn't feel nearly as good as that ramp style up. Like, these cards all tend to be expensive. Now, the third card, admittedly, we don't have all the mechanical details for, which makes the spoiler for it slightly less exciting. This one is like Rowan's Fighters, something like that. We don't have the full name, so it's like the Fighters of Rowan, Rowan's Fighters. This is 1 red, 3 colorless for a first striker that, as long as you control a Rowan planeswalker, the creature gets +3/+0. Now, we don't have the power and toughness for this creature. I personally, looking at it, I feel like it's most likely going to be either a 2/3 or a 2/4, so that when you control Rowan, you get like a 5 power first striker, and that falls in line with the Valiance of Rowan as well. And obviously, when you don't have a Rowan out, it's far less powerful. I do like the fact that these Fighters of Rowan, they end up costing only 4, so you can put it out in the next turn, drop Rowan, and they're beefy. And the flavor text, roughly translated, is, this sword is called Dawn, the other is called Aurora. They start my days and end yours. That's not too shabby. That's not too shabby. And bear in mind that this artwork just depicts one individual just standing there with blades. And actually, I didn't. It's funny. I'm feeling a little bit rushed because it is Carly's birthday and I don't have a crazy amount of time for this. But anyways, in the fighter, I guess it wouldn't be Fighters of Rowan. It would be Fighter for Rowan, or Rowan's Champion, something like that. Because this is one individual depicted in the artwork, actually looking pretty badass. I mean, you've got cinders flying around it. You assume that the reason that she gets this bonus is because Rowan is actually flame enhancing her sword the way that it shows in Rowan's artwork. And I didn't actually talk about the artwork for Rowan's Brave one, where you can actually see a squad, a detachment of knights sallying forth from a castle, charging out into battle with a whole bunch of pennants flying, all the decoration. Their horses have those. I don't know actually what you call like the coat of arms that you lay over a horse's barding. I know the armor on a horse is called barding, but I don't know what the fabric that you would lay over the horses would be called. But either way, the artwork shows a big detachment of knights charging outwards. I love this old school high fantasy feel where you just have these squads of knights. They're enhanced by fire magic brought on by Rowan. Overall, I've got to say, these spoilers aren't too shabby. It's not the most exciting stuff in the world, admittedly, because it's a Planeswalker deck, but it is a little more exciting because we're getting to see it earlier than we should. And that always feels just a little bit naughty. Oh, we are naughty boys and girls right now. Hoo-hoo, looking at stuff we're not supposed to. Anyhow, as I said, I am pressed for time. So I do want to take a moment, though, and thank the people who have recently joined up through channel memberships or through Patreon. Your support does mean a lot. So thank you to my newest members, Yellow Metal, Robert Hall, Alan McCandless, and Wizom. Thank you for joining up. Bear in mind, guys, I have recorded at least one other video before you got added to the scroll, and because of this spoiler video that's coming out, you may see another video or two that don't have your names listed in the credits at the end. But don't worry, that's just because of the chronology of my releases. So I want to thank all my patrons and all my channel members. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. YouTube does not give much in the way of advertising revenue, so it's fantastic to have that support for what I do. And remember, my friends,
together we are the 6th color of magic.